Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dad's Den of Pop Culture. It is Alpha Flight Monday. We are on issue number 9, April of 1984. And from the corner box, we can see we got Aurora and we got Sasquatch, who are apparently going to be the sort of center of attention in this issue. That, by the way, was a cool thing about those corner boxes. You would typically get the little headshots of the characters who predominated in that comic issue. Kind of a smart way to advertise. So what do we have? We got Sasquatch. Looks like the Thing's arm in Grimm. We got somebody in great distress. What the heck is going on? Oh, we also have Joust from Atari. I was terrible at that game. I thought it was the coolest game ever, and I was terrible at it. And I need to slip on another pair of spectacles here, or I'm not going to be able to read any of this. So this issue is called Things Aren't Always What They Seem. Things aren't always what they seem. Get it? Get it? I don't know. John Byrne, Project Director, Andy Yankus, Spectrography, Michael Higgins, Signals, Denny O'Neill, Project Manager, Jim Shooter Incorporated, funding for the Mount Logan Cosmic Ray Research Station. So let's jump into this issue. Near the peak of Canada's tallest mountain, an isolated research station, we'll assume that's Mount Logan, isolated research station stands lonely vigil, drawing itself tighter against encroaching winter. And as the poet Robert Service once had it, the northern lights have seen queer sights, but tonight perhaps they shall see the queerest of all. Okay, is there a connection between tallest mountain, Mount Logan, and Wolverine being named Logan because he's short? I don't know. In fact, we may never know. Okay, for inside the main hut. First, in my brain, I thought it said man hut, and then it was mean hut. In fact, it is main hut. Welcome to old age and bad eyesight. Lankowski, I've run the leads for additional power and rigged your adapter like you asked. Thanks, Court Guard. With any luck, that should provide us with an answer. I doubt it. A barely suppressed sigh of annoyance flares Walter Lankowski's nostrils as he turns. Look, McMurdo, I know you don't want me here any more than I want to be here, but these constant jabs aren't serving to do anything other than slow us down. We're all tired and on edge, and if you and I could just bury our personal hatchets, things would go a lot smoother. Don't lecture me, Lankowski. Look at this mustache. Never lecture a man with a mustache like this. Don't lecture me, Lankowski. You may be this country's top radiation expert, but around here you're just another warm body until you prove your worth. Wow, what a swell guy. Colonel McMurdo, Dr. Lankowski, I think it's about time for our intruder to show again. Intruder? I'm sorry. Masterson. Good Lord. Okay, hold on. Oh, there we go. I gotta adjust these glasses a little bit. Blast it, Masterson, McMurdo fumes. I've told you not to call this signal an intruder. That as the jagged line suddenly scratches across the screen, Walter Lankowski can only smile. I don't know what else you'd call it, Colonel. Darndest thing I've ever seen. Cuts right across the radiation spectrum, and I'm blowed if that doesn't look like a biological rhythm, almost like a brainwave pattern. Shall I try full increased resolution, Doctor? Good idea, Miss. Oh, good idea, Meg. Boost reception. Blasted waste of time and effort. That's a normal 21 centimeter signal. Simple background noise. Maybe, but I'm inclined to think not. And so is the Ministry of Defense, or I wouldn't be here. Ready, Court Guard? Ready, Lankowski. The adapter dish is lined. Then you may fire at will, says Lankowski, discreetly crossing his fingers. The hastily modified dish is quiet for a moment, then... Wow, shouts Court Guard. We've hooked something, but what in blazes is it? Looks a lot like a certain blue-eyed thing that we all know and love. In fact, holy cow, that's the Thing! As one, the crew of Logan Station races out into the freezing night air. Where the heck did he come from? The fallen figure offers no answer, silently smoldering in the snow. Oomph, he must weigh a ton. How in blazes are we going to move him? But Walter Lankowski's mind is already racing along that particular track. Now what do? I could carry him easily, but not without blowing my secret identity. He decides, all right, Green, I'll handle it. You? And just what do you think you can do, Lankowski? Oh, not much. It's the official Marvel tryout. A little something I picked up on my travels. And so he turns into Sasquatch right in front of all of them. And as Sasquatch, he can easily pick up the thing. Meanwhile, not far away, but totally unaware of what is transpiring, the station doctor enjoys a few moments' peace in his office. Very few. Evening, doctor. Excuse the highly unorthodox means of entry, but I'm a bit too big for conventional doors just now, and this man needs your attention. Minutes later, after the doctor has been brought up to date, well, he's alive, but that's the most I can say. His respiration is very shallow, and I can only just barely hear his heart beat through this hide of his. Sasquatch, you're probably more familiar with what his normal condition is. Not really, Doctor. And in any case, if my guess is correct, he may have been beaming down from another planet when we plucked him out of the ether. And just how would you know that, Lankowski? Not that it's any of your business, but I just returned from a special consultation with the Fantastic Four in New York, where I was an unhappy witness to a tragedy of which the world at large has not learned. See current and upcoming issues of the Fantastic Four. That's all well and good, but if you gentlemen wouldn't mind taking your discussion somewhere else, I'd like to have a more thorough look at my patient, in private. Very well, Dr. Duncan, keep me posted. Keep us both posted, Doc. And so the doctor goes back to work, and then suddenly, something grabs him from behind. And the last thing Dr. John Duncan will ever see is a rocky orange paw hanging motionless above his bulging eyes. Meanwhile, well, yes, like any extreme physical activity, it can be exhausting if I attempt to make the change too many times in a short period. But everything enlarges proportionally. Heart, lungs, even your GI tract. So he's discussing with another person there about becoming Sasquatch, and he's interrupted. There's something wrong. He busts into the doctor's office because nobody could get in, and they find the doctor smoldering. But what could have done such a monstrous thing? Somebody who came to collect the thing I'd warrant, and who left this subtle clue over here. Lankowski, what in blue blazes is going on here? Murder and kidnapping, from the looks of it, Colonel, though we all know looks can be deceiving. On the surface, I'd guess someone went out through this wall. Went out? Don't be ridiculous. This wall was smashed inwards from the outside. Likewise, look at that perimeter fence, bent in towards us. Perhaps, Colonel, but you're overlooking some important details, such as the only set of tracks which lead away from the station. Now, it's possible that whoever made this hole flew in, but was unable to fly away, carrying the thing. But then we have the question of this window. I'm sure Dr. Duncan liked his fresh air, but it's nearly 40 below zero out there tonight. Obviously, we're dealing with an attacker who possesses superhuman powers, and my guess is he, or she, was in this room all along, which suggests someone invisible, someone devious enough to set false clues. So it kind of sounds like Lankowski suspects the Fantastic Four are involved. But even he would have to be a little surprised at the Human Torch killing a guy. So he goes out to find what's happening. He's off there in the snow. Boom. So he has a realization, though, before that happens. Like a black rose in his heart, cutting short his thoughts. Blast, blast, blast. What a bloody fool I've been. Only one creature possesses all the powers of the Fantastic Four. The The blast is enough to hurl him back several yards up the mountain slope. It is a distance he quickly recovers, though, in a less than satisfactory fashion. Dazed, battered, and bruised, Lankowski comes at last to a jarring halt, a few yards short of conflagration. So, who could it possibly be? His arm is injured. He's going through the wreckage. He finds the woman he was talking to. She obviously is going to pass away here. Terribly burned, injured. He's pissed. I know you're still here, monster. I would have seen you if you flew away. Show yourself, blast you. Come out before I come in after you. Bold words, human. I judged correctly. You are the only warrior in this pathetic group. The only one worthy to face me, to see my true form before you die. I guessed right, didn't I? Somehow it was you all along. Not the thing at all. You, the miserable alien scum. Yes, disoriented by my return to Earth, I instinctively took a form that would protect me. Now hold your tongue, Earthling, for you are about to receive a great honor. You are about to perish. Comic book sale. At the hands of the Super Skrull. Next issue, Blood Battle. It's not what you'd expect. Walter Lankowski feels icy fear dilute his rage, for perhaps even Sasquatch cannot prevail against one who possesses all the powers of the Fantastic Four. That's quite a good fight, isn't it? And we have, down here, special thanks to Jim Scott, fellow Canadian, for suggesting this confrontation. Interesting. So there's our main story. Walter Lankowski, doing the scientist thing, manages to beam in the Super Skrull who was returning from space. He kills everybody in this station. Now we're going to get a real good fight next issue. Our backup story, we're still looking at the origins of the Alpha Flight characters. And today we're looking at Aurora, who we know has had a very tortured life. So let's look in on what's happening here. She had found this special place quite by accident, almost 8 years before. Sent into the dark and dusty attic to find an ancient and forgotten textbook, she had become lost in the maze of cobwebs and clutter, and following only her instincts and a faint glimmer of light, had come into a wondrous new world. She had not told the sisters of her fellow students. Nervous, introverted, terribly shy, she welcomed the escape afforded by the high secret place. She seeks another kind of escape tonight. So we're dealing with some pretty big issues here, folks. Forgive me, Heavenly Father, forgive your poor daughter this greatest sin. Her name is Jean-Marie Bobier. She is only 13 years old. She desires this day only to end a life of mounting miseries. What happens next she can only call a miracle. So she's a 13-year-old girl. She has had a very rough time in this religious school. And it has a continuing effect on her through her life. And at this point, she decides that she's going to end it all. This is some very serious storytelling. But what she finds when she steps off that roof is, in fact, that she can fly. The speed of her sudden flight is quite nearly as astonishing as the flight itself. In only seconds, she is more than a mile above the sleeping city of Laval, Quebec, as joy explodes in her heart. It is difficult, however, to maintain that jubilation, as 6 hours later, she waits on the hard bench outside the office of the school's headmistress. But the wonder of her discovery still sings through her veins, banishing all previous despair. For a while, at least. But Jean-Marie makes one mistake in the telling of her tale to the dour, disbelieving Sœur Anne, or Sister Anne. Groping for concepts beyond her experience, she speaks in terms of divine intervention. And Sister Anne hears not wonder, but blasphemy. Blasphemy to be most severely punished. This is not a good nun. And her punishment does not end with the physical. In the chapel, many hours later, kindly Father Tyrrell might have sent her to evening meal if Sister Anne had not forbidden it. And that night, aching, tired, and hungry, Jean-Marie chokes back bitter tears, contemplating the meal the meals yet to be missed, the classes somehow to be made up, all to be lost while she kneels in the chapel, for 1,000 prayers take a long time to say. Madame Dupont's school for girls is one of the last of its kind in Canada, perhaps the world, staunchly clinging to the harsh, cruel ways of another century. That the school might one day find its way into the 20th century is of little solace to Jean-Marie, however. Her brain still burns with fires that may never be quenched, for hers is a frail and tender psyche, ill-suited to this environment. Oh, mother, father, how could you die and leave me in this awful place? I was just a babe. What could I have done that you would punish me like this? You did nothing, Jean-Marie. Who? Oh, sweet heaven, save me. Do not be afraid, Jean-Marie. I am your friend. I bring you a very special present. So, if you can't tell, she's talking to herself in the mirror, and this is where her other personality is obviously coming to light. Now, I know from a psychological perspective, this may not be realistic in the least. I don't know enough about such matters to judge it one way or the other. I know there has been disputes about the whole concept of these alternate personalities and things of that nature. This is a comic book. Byrne is clearly doing this to try to help people who are going through hard times, to show them other people going through these hard times and coming through them. Although obviously in this case coming through them in a rather odd way, but he's trying to deal with real issues that were in the news at the time. You know, we were still in the era of Sybil and things of that nature. So if the science here is wrong or fanciful or fantastic, maybe it's a good idea to excuse it if you understand. I think the intentions were certainly good. So the voice tells her, I bring you freedom. Look, it's her. She's back. She must be crazy to come back. Sister Anne will kill her. She probably had to come back. Who else would take her? Beaubier, where have you been? It's been 3 days. Sister Anne is just about having kittens. Beaubier, why are you wearing makeup? Am I? I don't know. I don't. Oh, leave me alone. All of you, please leave me alone. So Jean-Marie, having had that switch to the Aurora personality, obviously took off. She's been gone for 3 days, living a different life. She comes back again to more punishment. Corporal punishment from this sister. And obviously it buries that persona in her quite a bit. She grows up, she becomes a teacher at the school, kind of embracing her tormentors in a way. She gets her own room now, etc. And once again, she sees that face in the mirror, her own face, but not her face. And she throws a book at it, breaks the mirror. But at this point, she's obviously going back and forth, because while part of her wants to be there teaching the school, sort of embracing her tormentors and what they've done to her, the other half is out partying, in Montreal. And this is going to get her into a little bit of trouble. There are some evil guys out there. As the evening wears on and her steps carry her to less desirable areas, she's not carrying a purse. Let's grab her anyways. It will be fun searching her. Creeps. These guys attack her. And they find that this is not a really good idea, because obviously she has superpowers, but it's an even worse idea because it just so happens there's this short little Canadian who's not too far away. Wow, I thought I picked up on something odd about that frail when I saw her a couple blocks back. I bet that clown didn't even see that punch coming. And he didn't see that punch coming because it was coming at supersonic speeds. But it looks like that's it for her bag of tricks. She's dropped her guard. Okay, chickie, I don't know what you just did, but it's going to get real bad for you now. Hey, bub, didn't your mama ever tell you it ain't polite to point? Huh? Especially when there's some folk in the world who just might point back. Snicked, there goes the claw, right under the guy's nose. The smaller man's speed and strength are astounding. The will to resist dwindles to nothing. Okay, man, okay, no contest. Smart boy. How about you, miss? You okay? I am fine, monsieur, but who are you? My real name ain't nobody's business, but my own. But these days most folks call me Wolverine. Half an hour later, after the would-be muggers have been turned over to the gendarmes, so I think my friend Jimmy Hudson would be interested in you. How about it? You up for a quick trip to Ottawa? Deep within her a small voice cries no, but Wolverine, I am up for anything. Contact has been made with the girl who will become Aurora. But where is her speedster sibling, Jean-Paul? The mystery continues to unfold. Next issue in The Origin of North Star. Don't miss it. And you remember in the last issue, or was it last? Might have been 2. Anyways, when she knocks out that would-be mugger, she mentions her friend Wolverine. So yeah, her and Wolvie know each other. That's a pretty classic Wolverine too. Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars. The ultimate 12-issue limited series begins this January. Don't miss it. And of course, that was like this little mini-series they did. Completely forgotten. Nobody even liked it. Now, I mean, look at this. How do you not freak out with that cover, dude? That's everybody, man. You got Rogue, Cap, Wasp, Wolvie, She-Hulk, Thing, Spidey. I mean, come on. Nightcrawler. Big time. That was a big deal. It would change comics forever. And the next year, DC would frankly do something even bigger. And when I say it changed comics forever, I don't necessarily mean for the better. And here we have Lockjaw. That's his name. Remember I forgot that last week, which was actually about 30 minutes ago when I was making that video. Lockjaw. I remembered. See, 50-year-old dudes, we got the memory. It just sometimes takes a little while for the data to get to the central processor. So there we go. Alpha Flight number 9. Main story pits Sasquatch against the Super Skrull, who's just murdered a bunch of scientists in Canada. Looks like a heck of a fight coming. And we get a backup story with Aurora and the things she's gone through that have left her in the very interesting condition that she is. Next week, Alpha Flight number 10, still only 60 cents. Look at that. Sasquatch, look at the fire in his eyes. Oh, it's going to be a sockdologer. Well, folks, what do you think of Alpha Flight number 9? Cool to see the Super Skrull back. Fan of Sasquatch, what do you think? He's actually one of my favorite characters in the series. I always like the big dudes. But anyways, and what do you think of Aurora and her origin? Man, that was some pretty mature storytelling, frankly, for the time. Byrne had a lot of freedom with Alpha Flight, and he used it and did some very interesting stuff with the series. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I try to make a point to read them and to answer whenever I can. And since I usually don't get that many comments, it's not that hard to do. Until next week, or if you want to watch some of my other videos that are dropping this week, God bless everybody. Be kind to one another. And try to have some fun. And I will see you the next time on Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Bye-bye.